What's going on, everybody? So after starting that Heroes of World War II playlist, it really got me thinking, who was the first Medal of Honor recipient from World War II? And so I got just a short little story to tell today. The first ever Medal of Honor recipient was Alexander Nininger, or also known as Sandy, his nickname. And I'm probably just going to go with Sandy for the rest of the video, just to keep it a little bit simple. Now, Sandy would spend time as a kid in Central Valley, New York, with some of his family near West Point Military Academy. Now, after watching cadets march in front of his house as he was growing up, he kind of got inspired, and he would want to attend West Point in the future. Now, some of his family was actually previous military. His grandfather fought in the Indian Wars, and so he would enter the academy on July 1st, 1937, right after getting out of high school. And he would be seen as a very nice and quiet person. He loved his studies and everything. He didn't seem overly aggressive or anything like that. And with this nature in mind, one of his friends would actually ask him if he could kill somebody. You know, you're in the military, at some point you may have to do just that. And a lot of people understood this. So, and his response, and I quote, would be, "I would not kill out of hate, but I would kill out of the love for my country." And that's probably the best response I've actually ever heard. Now, he would attend West Point. He would graduate near the top of his class, and his first assignment, he would actually be going to the Philippines. And it was by his own request to go to the Philippines. And as Japan would start invading the Philippines, right after Pearl Harbor, it'd be December 10th, 1941. They would start bombing campaign in the Philippines. They would start invading it, and they would push all of the U.S. troops over to the Bataan Peninsula in the Philippines. They would push them all the way back to the final peninsula, and here Sandy would be a part of this as a lieutenant, and he would be commanding forces on Bataan. Now, they would have a defensive grid set up at Bataan with some battalions watching the only real entrance to their area. It would be, you'd have 1st Battalion was on the left and the 3rd Battalion would be on the right. Now, after repeated attacks on the 1st Battalion, the Japanese would actually just give up on kind of attacking it, because they were never successful. They would fight day in and day out, and it wouldn't get any ground out of them. The U.S. actually had some great defense going on that side. But on the 3rd Battalion's sector, they would actually get infiltrated. Some of the defensive lines would be broken after a handful of days of nonstop attacking from the Japanese, and some snipers would actually get into their defensive sector. So, knowing this, Sandy did what anybody would really need to do in this situation. He wanted those snipers out of this sector so that America could go back to putting on the fight for Japan to try and save the Philippines. And he would do just that. They would form up a couple of sniping hunting parties, and Sandy would end up leading one of the sniper hunters groups. And he would bring with him an M1 Garand and loads of grenades in his satchels. Now, as they are making their way around the sector to clear out these Japanese snipers, he would actually shoot one of the snipers straight out of a tree. Now, having shot this sniper, it did give their position away. Immediately after, they would start getting heavy fire from Japanese machine gun nests and other soldiers in the nearby area. Now, drawing this heavy fire, Sandy would start pulling from his satchel all of his grenades and just start chucking them. And I'm pretty sure as he is chucking these, he is just saying Kobe the whole time, because he got 20 enemy kills with these grenades, just throwing them at the Japanese. And you know, if you say Kobe, it's good luck every time you throw it. Now, the men around him, though, would not be so lucky in this battle, and pretty much everybody in his group would end up being casualties of this little conflict that they had going, because it's not just the firing from Japanese machine guns anymore. They would actually get artillery support as well, just on his position. And it's the Japanese really wanted him gone. They did, because he's just taking out their front lines one by one and all the snipers that infiltrated. Now, just because everybody around him were casualties at this point, he decided to keep going. He would not give up on this assault that he had planned and that he was participating in. And I commend him for not giving up, because it would be what saved the fight in Bhutan, at least for a couple more months. Sandy would continue moving forward and would eventually run out of ammo in his M1 Garand, and he had already thrown all of his grenades. Having not brought a sidearm with him, he was now going to be stuck with hand-to-hand combat and would have to equip the bayonet to his rifle and start meeting the Japanese face-to-face. Now, in this skirmish of face-to-face combat with the Japanese, he would be injured 3 times. Now, he did not give up. Nope. Even after taking these 3 hits from Japanese, 3 more soldiers would eventually charge him, and he would parry their attacks and bring them down with him. Now, because of the injuries he sustained and a massive amount of blood loss and fatigue from the fighting, he would collapse in exhaustion. Had he not collapsed, would he have made it out of there alive? We don't know. Maybe there's a chance, but after they got him and America would retrieve his body, they found him with 2 Japanese soldiers and 1 Japanese officer laying next to him, also lifeless. So it's safe to say that he did not go out without a fight. He tried to bring as many as he could with him, and his actions would boost the American troop morale at the time and help them do their own counterattacks and try to gain some of their territory back and continue the defense of Bhutan. Now, a lot of people said that Bhutan would have fallen within 30 days of Japan's attack. We're talking, the battle should have probably only lasted from December 10th to January 11th. But because of his heroic actions and the inspiration that he brought with him to continue fighting, Bhutan would not fall until April of 1942. And then after the fall, we had the Bhutan Death March by the Japanese, where a lot of Americans would also become casualties of the war, and it would be not the worst war crime from Japan, but it's pretty high up there on the list for them. Now, he would be awarded the Medal of Honor by Franklin Roosevelt on January 29th of 1942 for his heroic actions in saving his men and keeping the fight going. Now, it was a great story, albeit a little bit on the shorter side for stories, but I felt it'd be nice to share who the first Medal of Honor awarded would be in World War II. Now, we will continue the Heroes of World War II stories. Last I checked, I think there was like 432 Medal of Honor recipients from World War II, and that number does actually kind of go up every now and again as people who were awarded just like was it the Silver Service Stars get upgraded to Medal of Honors, because 40s America was still kind of a little bit on the racial side, and so a lot of African Americans and Asians at the time who fought with America were not given Medal of Honors who should have been. So we kind of go back and correct that mistake every couple of years, or every year sometimes. Somebody new will get this award. So the number does go up. But I'm not saying we're going to do every single story, but we will try and visit as many of them as possible. If you guys like this story, do leave a like and subscribe. If you have a favorite Medal of Honor story that you want me to cover in the future, leave a comment down below with the name and maybe even parts of their story to help me out in my research. And I will see you guys later.